Many of us grew up watching certain animes that we still watch to this day because of intriguing characters and plot points. While these programs weren't like other kids' cartoons or kids' shows in general, they were still targeted at a younger demographic but often tested the boundaries of this age rating by having complex and sometimes dark storylines. So that's what we're going to be having a look at today. So here are 5 terrifying moments from kid-friendly animes. Number 1. Yami almost kills Weevil, Yu-Gi-Oh! The original series for Yu-Gi-Oh! Was initially released in 1998 and then picked up again in 2000, where it ran for 4 years and had over 200 episodes to its name. Throughout these episodes, the plotline became gradually darker and the characters had to deal with some difficult hardships. An example of this was in Season 2 when many of the characters became slaves to the antagonist Marek, and this became a reoccurring theme throughout the show. However, what stood out to many people was an episode in Season 4. Yugi's soul had been taken and Yami's spirit had gradually been getting darker because of this. Well, in a duel with Weevil, we see this firsthand. When Yami wins the duel, he attacks Weevil much more than necessary. In the dubbed version, this is edited down, but on the episode that aired in Japan, we can see Yami attack Weevil 5 times. Even after the duel is over, we can see that this is physically damaging Weevil, but Yami does not stop until eventually Taya asks him to. It's quite a creepy and unnerving scene, and it's not that surprising that it was edited down for the dubbed version, but it also does deserve some credit for being so well written and intriguing. This is one of the main breaking points for Yami as a character early on in this season, and this scene captures that very well.
Number 2. Alexander gets imprisoned, Beyblade. Beyblade was released in 2001 and is centered around a team of Beybladers who travel from country to country to compete in various competitions. The last competition in the first season is set in Russia, and it's easy to tell that things are getting considerably more serious. The main characters go to a training facility and are challenged to a match. Tyson, a member of the team, accepts his challenge, and he is split up against Alexander. The match goes on for quite some time, but Tyson eventually prevails and wins the match. This angers Boris, the leader of the facility, who reacts by ordering 2 of his men to take Alexander away into a dark room. Alexander pleads and begs, but his cries are ignored, and we see one final scene of him being dragged away by the men, before the door closes behind them. Alexander is never seen again on screen, and viewers can only wonder what happened to him.
Someone please help me! You can't let them do this to me!
Remove him from my sight.
I beg of you, please help me, please!
While Beyblade has some dark scenes, the first season was pretty lighthearted in comparison to other animes. This was probably the darkest the show ever got, and it set the tone for the rest of the final few episodes, which did take a slightly creepier and more disturbing turn.
Number 3. Azula's Breakdown, Avatar: The Last Airbender. Now this show was actually animated in America, so it wouldn't technically be considered an anime. However, it was very much so inspired by the Japanese style of animations, and it stays true to that style, so I decided to include it in this list. Avatar: The Last Airbender was released in 2005 on Nickelodeon, and viewers knew very quickly that this wasn't your average kid show. It had a complex lore, intriguing plot points, and at times it was very dark. One character that stood out to viewers was Azula, a firebender who had a dark past who was described as being sadistic and power-hungry. She clearly had many problems and mental issues, and because of this, viewers were given an array of creepy, unsettling scenes revolving around Azula. The one that stood out to most people, however, was an episode in Season 3 where Azula and Zuko had a firebending duel known as an Agni Kai. The fight went on for almost 5 minutes and both characters were severely injured after it, but Zuko prevailed and was the victor. Azula realized that she had lost everything and her plans had been foiled. We see her break down into tears and the mental instabilities that had been building up for quite some time all finally come out in a fit of anguish and rage. It was a short but effective scene that really shows us the consequences to this battle. Shortly after this, Azula was sent to a mental health facility on a nearby island where her instabilities were tended to.
Number 4. Jerry's Nightmare Digimon. Digimon was originally released in 1999 and has stuck with people because of its intriguing characters and plotlines. In Season 3, known as Digimon Tamers, the show took a much more darker turn, and some disturbing plot points and concepts were introduced. This moment, near the end of the 3rd season, stuck out to most viewers, as it features one of the main characters, Jerry, having a terrifying dream about her dead mother. In this scene, we see doctors that keep reminding Jerry that this was fate, and that she has to accept it. It was a strange scene to say the least, but death has a prevalent theme in Digimon Tamers, so it wasn't really that surprising to see.
Number 5. POPEE impales himself, POPEE the Performer. POPEE the Performer was released in 2001 in Japan and spanned for 39 short episodes. It was a very strange show and it's hard to believe that it was targeted towards kids because it showed death and severe injury in almost every episode. It featured POPEE, a circus performer who wasn't very good at his profession. Because of this, he often tried and failed to do tricks that would usually end up with him hurting himself. These scenes were very graphic, and at any given time, a character could be killed by one of these stunts. I could pretty much pick any scene from this show, as they're all pretty messed up, but one that stood out to me was taken from an episode where POPEE tries to eat a sword after eating his friend, but ends up killing both of them. While you could definitely argue that this show shouldn't have been targeted towards kids, it is a weirdly entertaining program, and if you have a couple of hours to kill, the full series is on YouTube. And that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, don't forget to hit that like button. I want to say a big thank you to BLAMEITONJORGE for collaborating with me on this video. If you haven't heard of him, I recommend checking him out. The link will be in the description. He makes awesome content. I'll be back next week with a new creepy list, so if you haven't already, please consider subscribing for that. But like I said, that's all for now. As always, until next time.